we are here with Jonathan Jayal, who is the CEO of Quixant, a gaming technology company, both on the software and hardware side. And John, first of all, thank you for taking the time with us today.
Thank you so much, Frank. It's really good to speak to you.
John, tell us, for those folks who might not be familiar with Quixant, describe your company, your products, your services, and maybe some of the customers who folks will recognize.
Sure. So we started out the business in 2005, and as you very accurately put it, we're a gaming technology hardware and software company. And what we uniquely try to do is enable the manufacturers of gaming machines and the game content creators to come out with the most vibrant, fantastic content that is the lifeblood of this industry that gives players such great enjoyment. And the way we enable them to do that is by bringing a hardware and software proposition, a computer proposition, which enables them to focus even more on that content creation and content delivery piece, and to create machines which make more immersive and more vibrant experiences for the players. And that's by having these electronic hardware and software components which are optimized for this particular market and are very well tailored for the highly regulated nature of that market. And we've got a sort of a broad base of customers. Many of the larger manufacturers in the industry work with us on their products, and that enables them to focus on their core competence around content creation.
Who are some of those customers we might recognize?
So some of the ones you'll know, Every Games is one of our largest customers. We've worked with Ainsworth over many years as well, and a whole handful of other names actually that we've worked with. And I think it's sort of that approach of, how much should computer board development matter? The player never sees a computer board. The player never sees the software that runs on that computer board apart from the game. And so how can we enable those customers to focus on that content and on the gameplay rather than on the computer board itself?
The gaming industry is changing so fast. It's almost not recognizable from what it was just a few years ago. If you looked out 3 to 5 years from now, how do you see the gaming industry technologically, and how will Quixant capitalize on those opportunities?
And the thing that's wonderful about gaming is just it's always more. So the content is more vibrant, the graphics are higher resolution, there's always more game features, the machines look even more incredible. And I think that's one of the wonderful things, particularly after the terrible year we've had in 2020 in gaming, where so many of the venues were closed, lots of the players were unable to enjoy the games. But even after that, there's still been these incredible technology advancements, and we were at G2E, and at G2E we saw lots of new products coming out. And despite the year where you thought everybody would be bunkering down and trying to hold their R&D budgets down, you've still seen an incredible amount of new content being created, new machines being launched. And I think for us, it's all about, as I see the industry going forward, I see that sort of constant strive of evolution and technology development continuing, but it becoming increasingly, as a hardware business, more and more expensive and more complex to do. You've got the current supply chain issues, which are very complex to overcome and are plaguing every market that's in technology across the world, and gaming is not isolated from that. And what that means is for manufacturers of machines that are generating this content, they're having to face not just the R&D effort to develop the new games, but also having to face the challenges around just launching those games with the technology that underlies them. And so for us, from our point of view, what we're all about is making that an easier ride for them to do, not having to suffer the cold face of the technology hardware markets, which are just so disrupted at the moment, and focus even more so on that content creation. And ultimately for the players, that means even better games and the availability of those games, because they're not held back by what electronic markets may be able to supply. And that's because we provide that buffer between our customers and the ultimate vendors of some of the semiconductors.
You mentioned the tumult that gaming has gone through in a lot of industries because of COVID. And from an investor perspective, Quixant stock was much higher several years ago than it is today.
Correct.
However, you're also triple what you were, say, in April this year. That's and right. You, in September, you reported your first half results, and your revenues were up 30% overall. On the gaming side, they were up 55%. on the bottom line, you turned positive again. Uh, what is the earnings and financial outlook for Quixant at this point?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Frank. It's been a difficult year for us, and I think in a way that just goes to show the level of alignment that we have in our future and our performance with the gaming market. And last year, we spent a lot of that year making sure we supported our customers through it, and that was through all sorts of things around helping them with cash flow when things were closed in the second quarter. And as the year went on, also helping them to reopen, making sure they had products available to start to bring machines back to market as well. So we had a difficult 2020, there's no question about it. And one of the things that we've always set as a standard within our business is having resiliency in downturns. So we run a very, very solid balance sheet. We have a very low level of leverage, financial leverage on the balance sheet. And that meant last year, when you had that disruption, we were able to weather the storm reasonably well. And were able to support customers on their cash flow as well when we went through that second quarter. And so, so what that's led to is, as the markets have started to re-emerge and start to replace machines again, we have naturally seen a recovery in demand for our products. And actually, we've had quite a lot of new business won as a result of it as well, because we've been spending millions of dollars this year on buying stock and components to try and make sure that we can continue to supply customers, and we're buying stock now well out into 2022 already. And because of that, we've had new business coming in, because actually we've been able to supply when perhaps it's been more difficult for others to. So that's what's driven our sort of improvement in earnings, and we see that outlook to continue to be very positive. And we're expecting for the full year a very, very solid level of growth on 2020. And indeed, as we go into the year ahead, we have a great pipeline of new business. We're seeing lots of market opportunities evolving. And that will lead to a sustained period of growth, which means that I see a route back to where we were in our share price in the past, and that will be underpinned by lots of new business alongside recovery of our existing customers.
Now, in addition to gaming, you have a non-gaming component, which at present is probably about the same size as gaming. Yep. On a revenue basis. How does that play in the overall development of Quixant if I'm an investor looking at your company?
And the component called Densitron, which we have in the business, was incredibly resilient last year. So it's a very diversified manufacturer of display products. And where the two businesses converge is Densitron is an expert in, it's all about user experience with the display. So how can you make displays provide a more vibrant user experience? And Quixant use that technology around its display products, which it's had in the past. We have button deck products, which we supply IDEX for the IDEX for the gaming machines. We supply monitors. Those sort of display technologies, which Densitron is so expert in, has been doing for 50 years. We have within the that access within the gaming business, that experience within the gaming business. But also, what is wonderful about it is it exposes you to new technologies that are coming out as well in that display space. And so what we've been able to do is to leverage all of that background to it, plus the resiliency when gaming last year was having a difficult year. That maintained our a flow of funds through the company, and that enabled us to to weather the storm well last year when it would have been much more difficult without it. But also that there's a cross-selling of opportunity in terms of technology from the display products.
You've covered a lot of points that investors would be interested in. Your balance sheets, your order book, which is ahead of last year, I believe already. If you were to sum up the investment thesis for Quixant, what would it be?
We've we've built a very robust growth business over a number of years now. Double-digit CAGR since inception of the business, which we're very proud of. But we've also built a brand which we're really proud of, and we are used by some of the biggest manufacturers within the industry. And I think as we see an increasing level of challenge with creating the hardware solutions and the computer software solutions which sit underlying the games themselves, and it's really important to understand that those games are our customers' domain. We don't write games, we don't write content. That's where our customers have their expertise. But everything that supports those games to be brought to market, we can help in. And with the blue chip book of customers that we already have have, combined with lots of new business prospects. From an investment point of view, I think we're a really exciting company for investors to look at, and I think hopefully from the manufacturer's point of view, we're a great partner to work with. And in the last 2 years, where we've been helping with supporting on cash flow, this year where we've been helping support on buffering of stock, hopefully that partnership element to our business has really come through in living and breathing a relationship with Quixant.
Because you provide components, you walk through a casino floor and you see a machine there, your name's not going to be on it. It's going to be the name of the manufacturer, the games creator, and so on. What separates you from your competitors? What's your secret sauce?
Well, I talked a lot about focus, and focus, I guess, is one of the key things. So we are totally fixated on being a gaming experience and helping in the gaming experience. So we don't worry about doing standard computers. We're worried about computers which make gaming successful. And so with that, it's looking at what the regulations are doing, how those regulations are evolving, and what features they might need to add. It's looking at, as the latest round of titles come out, that latest round of titles may need new sort of software infrastructure to enable them to run. We can support that through that transition. And it's also around, understanding the dynamics around the industry. So simplistically this year, the fact that we can continue to supply a product without changes is so important, because from a standard PC point of view, that's not been possible in many cases, and some of the biggest tech companies out there have even been saying now we're not able to get components in to supply our products. But in gaming, of course, you have the even greater barrier that you can't change parts. So just that sort of that alignment of our business's success with what the gaming market requires is I suppose one of our USPs, and allied to the fact we've obviously got a feature-rich product set, which hopefully meets all of the sort of the price points and requirements of all of the different gaming markets where our customers seek to deploy their machines.
Okay, very interesting. John, we've covered a lot of ground. Anything else you'd like folks to know about Quixant?
No, I think you've covered a lot of it, Frank. That's been, I've enjoyed speaking to you.
Well, I thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you so much.